This is going to be a short video, but trying to get this thing ready for No Name Nationals. I'm going to do some work on the instrumentation and adding autometer shift light to the factory tach, stuff like that. So yeah, let's go. So for whatever reason, this tach that was converted by the tach man no longer works. I'm going to pull the instrument cluster out, take the tach out. Unfortunately, the tach man is not replying to my requests for help, so I will be looking for someone else maybe that can repair it. But main objective here is to get it out, so we'll just pull the cluster out first. All right, we got the instrument cluster out. That's a bit of a pain. Getting these are the three connectors. I've added a ground there because it only grounds as it bolts down, and sometimes my dash lights don't work when it's not grounded good. And the speedometer cable, which is right here. Sucker is a real pain. And then the tach wires. There are these two that go to the tach, and then one is a ground. So there's that cluster sitting over there. We'll go take a look at it. All right, this is my gauge cluster. 20, 30 years ago, I made these modifications. This was a non-tach cluster. So the oil pressure and amp gauge would have been here. The clock, this car actually had a clock in it, and it was here. And then of course these would have been kind of a green-blue color. I bought a 67 Cougar tach, which is what this is. Modified my cluster for that tach to fit, which you can still see my crude amateur modification there. And I bought white face overlays because the tach had a different face, being a Cougar, and that was the only way I could figure out how to make them all match. And so I did the white face thing. Then probably 11 years ago, we can look on here and see. Yeah, in 15, I had the tach and the speedometer modified. This was 120 and this was 6,000. So I had them modified professionally. I can't get the original guy who modified the tach to respond to me, so we're gonna see if we can't figure out if there's an option there. So that's why I took it all apart. Let's see if I can't fix this or get it fixed, or I don't know what I got to do, but that's my goal. Well, turns out the tachometer does work. My power wire to the tach I had hooked up to the fuse panel to a key on power supply, and I wasn't getting any power to it. I checked the fuse, it was good. Power at the fuse when the key was on, so I just made a new wire and tested it, and it worked. So one of the connectors must have come loose, maybe, or had a bad connection, I don't know. So tachometer's working again. Now I'm going, while I got this all apart, I'm going to put this guy in here. I'm going to hide this shift light behind the air conditioning vent, so it'll come on when I need to shift. And I have a launch RPM, so I got a momentary switch I can push to activate. It goes on the purple wire to activate the launch RPM, so I can set that different than the shift RPM. So yeah, let's start putting all that in there. I also added a ground. Here you can never ground stuff too much, because this thing grounds through the bolting it to the dash. So I added this ground wire, and then I've got a plug in so I can take it on and off easy. But then I ran a wire to a chassis ground, so we got a good ground, I hope. Better than it was before. Okay, I think I'm going to mount this up here on the dash. I'll poke the wire down through the defroster hole and come back down behind the dash to this guy so we can hide all that. That should be relatively easy to do. And then I think I'll put the momentary switch in the console, maybe. This will be the switch to tell it that I'm going to have the launch RPM set. And I think that'll be right in my peripheral vision, where I don't have to look down at the tachometer. Everything's working and reading. I just got to run a power wire to this for this to work, but I'm going to figure out where I'm going to put it first. I think I'm going to put it in the console. Drill a hole in the console. I don't know. Figure out where it looks best. Well, I'm not quite done, but I'm going to wrap up this video just because, I don't know, just because. I still got to run the wire for the shift light through the defroster down to the controller down here, and then hook up my momentary switch. But other than that, everything works. Was able to do a little testing yesterday. I'm still messing around with wheel and tire combos here, but we'll get her sorted. And all right, stay tuned for more.